along. It's okay. We'll hear something about. Would you like to hear how Hanuman brought Govardhana hill to Vrindavan? It's a new one. It's an old one. But from Ananda Ramayana, there's a nice description like that. So we'll hear. Now, because today is a special day, for many reasons, it's a special day. One of those special days is Hanuman Jayanti. So we're going to be speaking about Hanuman. And many nice things to say about Hanuman. We won't be able to say all of them because we'd be here till the end of the day of Brahma. And that's a long time. But one of the many nice things to say about Hanuman is that he is both he and Lakshmana are representatives of Guru Tattva. Guru function or Guru Tattva is to dedicate oneself completely to disclosing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for them, Lakshmana and Hanuman, Lord Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they're absolutely dedicated to not only his service, but specifically the service of bringing his glories into the world and serving him in any capacity whatsoever. Here's a nice description. Hanuman is the greatest devotee of Rama. He introduced Rama to Sugriva. He flew to Lanka. He gave Rama's message to Sita. He warned Ravana. He wholeheartedly accepted the defection of Vibhishan into Ram's camp. He brought medicinal herb that gave life back to Lakshmana. And he prevented Bharata from immolating himself. Immolating, you know the meaning? Burning himself in fire. Immolation. Yeah. You know the story? Bharata was going to burn himself in fire. You know that one? You're not sure? Okay, let's hear. Poor Bharata. When Lakshmana was in the forest with Sita for 13 of the 14 years, he was contemplating. They had just built the Panchavati. He had just built the cabin or cottage for the three of them in the forest. And he was contemplating poor Bharata. Here we are in this beautiful place together, no disturbances, no cell phone messages, no nothing. Very peaceful. And poor Bharata, he's sitting alone in Ayodhya without your association, feeling grief over because of Kaikeyi. So it was like a whole soliloquy of his feelings of affection and appreciation for what Bharata was undergoing. And then he started moving into, and that Kaikeyi, blah, blah, blah. And Ram stopped him. said, don't speak about Kaikeyi. Only speak about Bharata. Because Ram didn't like, even if someone had done bad things, to speak badly of the person that did bad things. He didn't like it. He stopped him. And Lakshmana understood his mood. Because when Bharata came back to Ayodhya to find out from his elated mother, guess what? You're going to become the king. What? Come again? Your father said Ram is going to go to the forest for 14 years and you're going to become the king. Aren't you happy? And he exploded and decided firmly, firm resolve, I will bring Ram back. And so he went, and he was questioned along the way. Are you to have some bad intention towards your brother? Isn't it enough that you're going to become the king? And anyway, they were throwing mud at him. And he was so disturbed, not just because he had no intention like that, but and so when he got to Ram in Chitrakoot, the answer was no. I'm not returning. Our father said, forest for 14 years, and I can't transgress the word of our father. So it's forest for 14 years, and you're supposed to be the king. No way I'm going to become the king. You're the king. You're this, and you're... So he tried the front door, he tried the back door, he tried the side door, he tried the chimney, he tried the basement, he tried everything. And the answer was no. And then he did the next best. Now, there's different versions of where those padukas came from. Some say he had plan B from the get-go in case Ram says no, he's got padukas. Anyway, he provided some padukas, and Ram, put your foot on these shoes, and the shoes will go on the throne. And the shoes will rule Ayodhya for 14 years. And I'll live like you're living, hair matted in tree bark and eating sparingly like you're eating. And there's different things of what he said he ate. Oats soaked in cow urine for 14 years. Anyway, he lived a life of a great austerity. And he uttered, and he meant it, if you don't return at the end of 14 years, I'm going to enter into fire and give up my life. So on the 14th year ending, Ram had to hurry back because he had defeated Ravana. And he had the Pushpaka Vimana. Now you're remembering this story? Yes? Kind of. Semi. A little bit. The Pushpaka Vimana came in for landing, and Ram said to Hanuman, perhaps in the course of 14 years, Bharata has become attached to being the king. And that's just fine. He can be the king, and I'll be the subordinate to the king if he's attached. So, Hanuman, you're a good minister. Go to where Bharata is and find out. Remember? So, Hanuman knew how to carry messages. He was a good message carrier. It's Ram to Bharata, but via, if he was attached, then just let him be attached, and that's fine. And the very mood of Bharata was so clear to Hanuman. I came just in the nick of time because he was ready to enter into fire, give up his life. Hey, the gang's all here. Look at this. You young boy that's wearing the orange t-shirt. I want your attention. I'm speaking to you. Yes, yes. Do you know who is Hanuman? Tell me one thing that you know about Hanuman. He's what? Immortal. Are you sure? Is he a Chiranjiva or he's immortal? You know the difference?
The same.
Well,
Yeah.
the same.
No, they're not the same. Immortal means he will not die. Chiranjiva means he lives so long. Chiranjiva, he lives so long. You know who another person who's a Chiranjiva is? Jambavan. He lives, his life spans many yuga cycles. The yuga cycles are a long time. And Hanuman lives for a long time. But he's born and he dies. Long time, but he dies.
Yeah, okay.
So he's not immortal. You want to try another one? What? Tell me something else you know about Hanuman.
He's a monkey.
Yeah, that was easy.
You don't know.
Would you like to hear how he became a monkey? Say yes.
Say yes.
No.
No, he wants to go, right? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So stay tuned because we're going to talk how that happened. We're going to discuss how it happened. Because today, I'm focusing on you, and by focusing on you, you're going to be really attentive for the rest of the day.
Say yeah.
Say yes.
Yeah.
Because today is Hanuman Jayanti. It's the appearance day of Hanuman. So we're going to discuss how Hanuman took birth. And from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, and it's true, one who takes birth, death is certain. Anything that takes birth, death is certain. Because it's material. Birth is something material. And everything matter has a time clock. And it ends, beginning and ending. Everything material. But there's things that don't die, like the soul. Najayate mriyate va kadachin. Soul that isn't born. The soul doesn't die. The soul is immortal. Bodies are born, bodies that die. They're different.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. We're on a roll here. That's 3 yeses in a row. So Hanuman prevented Bharata from immolating himself. No, he carried Ram's message, and it was very clear to Hanuman. He wants Ram to be king. He doesn't want to maintain the position of king. He doesn't want to immolate himself. He wants Ram to be king. He don't want this end or that, and he wants Ram to be king. So that was his function. Hanuman is the messenger of Ram. So Ram was very, very happy to return to Ayodhya, and then that's another part of Ramayana. So I'm going to show you a few things that maybe you've seen before and maybe you've not. How many of you have seen paintings or images or pictures of Hanuman ripping open his chest and showing Sita and Ram inside. How many have seen? Everyone has seen. Yes or no? Yes, okay. He has to look at Dad to see if it's a yes or a no. So I had a question. I saw this again and again and again. So there must be some scriptural reference besides some artist got the idea and made it popular. And so, that those things do happen. So I did, a little research, and I came to find out that the source is Kritivasa Ramayana. There's many. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, at the time of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami says to Maharaj Parikshit there are over 100 versions of Ramayana, and there's been more since then. So it's popular. And there are different cultures, different languages, different places that speak this and speak that. So the pastime kind of gets morphed a little bit over a period of time in different realizations of different authors. Kritivasa is a reasonably popular Ramayana, and there's this nice description. And here's a nice painting that depicts this nice description. The scene is back in Ayodhya. Lord Ramachandra has become king. There's a big festival. And at the end of the big festival, gifts are given to the king, and the king gives gifts to the citizens. It's just, dadati pratigranati. It's just a loving exchange for a king and the citizens. So at a certain point in time, there's a necklace that Sita is wearing, and it's a very, very valuable necklace. And so now it's Sita's turn to give the gift of this most valuable necklace to someone. So they have, the conversation is they just look at each other's eyes and they communicate that way. They don't have to say anything. She looks at Ram, and Ram nods. She should give the necklace. And then she asks to whom, and he says, give it to the most worthy person. So then there's a long sequence where Sita is saying the things that Ram did for her. This, that, and the other thing, and the other thing. And he sacrificed and this and that and the other thing and the other thing. So she's smiling. Ram is smiling. Hanuman is cringing. And Ram nods. And so she gives the neck, that's the painting. She gives her most valuable necklace to Hanuman. Hanuman's looking at the necklace in Kritivasa Ramayana, examining it, and he then starts chewing on it. And Lakshman laughs and says, Sita, why did you give this necklace to the monkey? Because he'll just do monkey business. He'll just chew this most valuable necklace. And then there's some more conversation. And why don't you ask Hanuman why he's chewing on this necklace? And Hanuman says, there's no name of Ram on this necklace, so it's worthless. And everyone laughs, and Lakshman said, but Hanuman, your body doesn't have Ram's name all over your body, and you maintain your body, but you're chewing the necklace. And so he opens up his chest and shows not just Sita Ram in his chest, in his heart, but according to Kritivasa Ramayana, every bone in his body has Ram's name inscribed all over every bone in his body, and many times again and again and again and again. Once. So that's the scriptural reference for the painting. Here's another one. Many of us, I'm sure, who have been to India, many of you, I'm sure, been to India, have seen Hanuman all red like this. So, being curious, why? Why do they depict Hanuman like this? So I asked around, I didn't get any answer. I asked Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, and he had the answer. The answer he gave was, one time Hanuman asked, what's that red dot in the forehead of Sita? And the answer was, she likes it, rather than get into it. So Hanuman scurried away and got a whole bunch of kumkum powder and smeared it all over his body and made his whole body red because Sita likes it. And here's another. This is Adhyatma Ramayana, quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-lila, chapter 9, where there was a deity of Sitaram worshipped by Ikshvaku long, long ago. That's a long, long ago, worshipped by Ikshvaku. So where did Ikshvaku get the Mula Sitaram deity? He got the Mula Sitaram deity from his father, Manu. Because Manu, according to the histories, Manu established, he built and constructed Ayodhya from the sun planet to the earth planet. And he sent his son, Ikshvaku, to rule the Surya dynasty on the earth planet. That's how the Surya dynasty began, sent by the sun god, by Vaivasvata Manu. So Ikshvaku brought this deity. This isn't the deity, this is just a Sitaram deity somewhere. And over the generations and generations and generations, this Sitaram deity was being worshipped by everyone, including Dasaratha. And eventually, when Ram became king, Ram didn't worship himself. He had some Brahmana worship the deity because it's an ancestral deity. And then something happened. The something that happened was I'm pausing because it's really nice at the beginning of programs we ask people to move forward, and there's a reason for that. Because some people come a little bit later, and then they have to come and, embarrassingly step over people or around people. And thank you for moving forward, because then people that come a little bit later, they'll have a place to sit. Okay. While Ram was ruling, how long did Ram rule in Ayodhya for? Sir, do you know? Not this little boy, you. How long? Ramachandra was ruling in Ayodhya for how many years? 11,000 years. 11,000 years? 11,000 years. That's a long time to do anything. So sometimes he had to leave to go out of town or leave Ayodhya and take care of some duty because he's the king of the world. So he had sometimes to go do things. So whenever he went to go do things, there was a Brahmana in Ayodhya that would fast until he returned. However many days he was gone, that's how many days he would do his Brahminical duties, but he wouldn't eat. And then when he came back, then he would break his fast. So this happened again and again and again. Eventually the news got to Lord Ramachandra. So he decided, he invited the king to the palace, and he said to the king, this is an ancestral deity in our disciplic line or family line. I'm giving this deity to you. So when I have to leave to go out of Ayodhya, I'm present in the form of this deity. So you don't have to fast anymore. The Brahmana was very grateful, one can imagine. And he worshipped the deity for the rest of his life. And then at the end of his life, or before the end of his life, he passed the deity on to Hanuman, because Hanuman's a Chiranjiva, right? You remember the name? Chiran, are you going to remember this tomorrow? Chiranjiva. He lives a long time. Extraordinarily, many, extraordinarily long. So Hanuman became the worshipper of the Mula Sitaram deities for a long, long time. And Hanuman, has a stepbrother. Let's pick on you. Do you know who Hanuman's stepbrother was? You know the meaning of stepbrother? They have the same father, but a different mother. So stepbrother. Not biological brother, but stepbrother. Like the Pandavas are stepbrothers. They have the same. Okay, stepbrother. So who was Hanuman's father? Starts with a V. Vayu, right. The wind god, Vayu, Hanuman's father. And who amongst the Pandavas had Vayu as his father? Oh, you know. I just frightened you. Bhima. Bhima's father was Vayu. So that makes Bhima and Hanuman stepbrothers, same father. Vayu, father. So Hanuman very graciously gave the Mula, this is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, reference from Adhyatma Ramayana. He gave the deity to Bhima. And Bhima worshipped the deity. And then there was a succession of Pandava kings over many generations. And mentioned in this particular reference, Kshema Kanta. He was a king, the last in the line, who was domiciling or living, making his residence in Orissa. And he was the last of the Pandava kings. So after the last of the Pandava kings, he then gifted the deity to some other kings in Orissa, who were known as the Gajapati kings. Gajapati kings in Orissa. And those Gajapati kings became so pleased, one of them became so pleased with a very learned, elevated Brahmana who was a predecessor of Madhvacharya named Narahari Tirtha. They gave the deity to Narahari Tirtha. Narahari Tirtha gave the deity to Madhvacharya. Now, why am I telling this? It's a nice history. And we visited Udupi, and one of the 9 temples in Udupi is this Mula Sitaram deity. So Sita's kind of short. That's okay. And there's Ram. Just 3 months before his disappearance, Madhvacharya received the deity. The deities were installed. And to this day, they're being worshipped very, very nicely in Udupi. Now, something sometimes happens. It happened in the Sri Sampradaya. It happened in the Madhva Sampradaya. In the Madhva Sampradaya, there was a schism. Some said this and some said that. And that those that said that, they established their own, what they call the Mula Sitaram deity. It's in a different place. However, the deity in Udupi Krishna, is dressed, as you see on the screen here on the right side. Of course, Udupi Krishna isn't with Sita by his side, but this is, for this occasion, they have special deity of Sita and a special deity of Hanuman. And there they are with Lakshman by Ram's side and with a bow and not his flute, bow and arrow and Ramayana, on Ram Navami. Okay. Now here's a nice Ananda Ramayana message that Madhvacharya also liked very much. On the flag of Hanuman's chariot, flag of Arjuna's chariot is Hanuman. So the language that's used is Kapi Dvaja, the Hanuman flag. And here's a nice painting of Hanuman on the flag of Arjun's chariot. And Madhvacharya goes so far as to say in his commentary, many of you know, that he wrote an extensive commentary on Mahabharata, Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnayas. And in that, there's the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita section. And in the Bhagavad Gita section, Madhvacharya, writes that when Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita, yes, Arjun was the one he was having the conversation with, but he was speaking for the benefit of Hanuman, who was on the flagpole of Arjuna. He is a little partial because he's also a stepbrother. Did you know that? According to the followers of Madhvacharya, the father of Madhvacharya is Vayu. That's what the painting shows. On one side there's Hanuman, the other side there's Bhima, and then down here is Madhvacharya. Because he had powers like Hanuman and like Bhima. Powerful. And he could travel at great distances, like one jump, and he's covering a whole big tract of land. Son of Vayu. So he had a lot of affinity for Hanuman. Now here's a nice, and Bhima. Now here's a nice description of how Krishna met Hanuman. Wait a minute. They're different yugas. Not only different yugas, but different cycles of the 4 yugas. What does that mean? According to our acharyas and our scriptures, Krishna appears once in a day of Brahma. Yes? I don't have anyone saying yes or no. Yes. Once in a day of Brahma, Krishna appears. And that particular yuga cycle is the 28th yuga cycle of Vaivasvata Manu. Vaivasvata Manu is Manu number 7. And the 28th yuga cycle, that's when Krishna appears. And when Ramchandra appears, is not the same 28th yuga cycle. It's the 24th yuga cycle of Vaivasvata Manu, once in a day of Brahma. Should I say it again? Is it clear? Hello? I'll say it again. Both appear once in a day of Brahma, but it's several yuga cycles apart. Yuga cycle means, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And that's a lot of years. And that's one yuga cycle. And 4 yuga cycles later is when Krishna appears from when Ramchandra appears. And Krishna met Hanuman? Well, Hanuman lives a long time, right? He's a Chiranjiva, right? Yeah. So there was a time when this is referenced in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, so we know that it's authentic. And there was a situation where Krishna was in Dwarka, and he was feeling there's a little pride in Garuda. And I don't like pride in the hearts of my devotees. So he decided how to get rid of the pride in the heart of Garuda. So he gave Garuda some service. Yes, some service. Please let Hanuman know that I would like to see him. So now another quiz question. Where is Hanuman, by the way? He's here for the duration of this life, the day of Brahma. So where is he? Kim Purusha Varsha. Where's Kim Purusha Varsha? Kim Purusha Varsha Varsha means tract of land. In Kim Purusha Varsha is one of the 9 tracts of land that are at the base of Mount Sumeru. What's Mount Sumeru? Mount Sumeru is a golden mountain that's wider at the top and narrower at the bottom. There's no such mountain. Gold, not golden, gold. And at the base of Mount Sumeru is Jambudvipa. Jambudvipa has 9 varshas, or tracts of land, each of those tracts of land divided by mountain ranges. This is 5th Canto Bhagavatam. And one of those varshas divided by mountain ranges is where Hanuman is, Kim Purusha Varsha. So Garuda was dispatched by Krishna, go to Kim Purusha Varsha, find Hanuman, and let Hanuman know that I would like to speak with him. So Garuda, zoom, off he went to Kim Purusha Varsha, and informed Hanuman, good news, the personality of Godhead, king of the Yadavas, is calling you, my dear Hanuman. Go to him at once. But Hanuman's exclusively devoted to Ramachandra, so he just ignored him. And Garuda didn't like that. He's inviting you to come to see Krishna, and you don't come? So he tried to forcibly take Hanuman to Krishna. So what did Hanuman do? He flipped his tail, and Garuda went flying in the air. And he went flying and flying and flying, and he came in for a landing back in Dwarka. And Krishna was amused. Garuda, you came back so quickly. Where's Hanuman? Garuda told him what happened, and he said, try this. Go back and inform Hanuman that Raghunath is calling him. So Garuda went for part 2. And meanwhile, Krishna back in Dwarka transforms himself into Ramachandra. And he arranges from Balaram to transform himself into Lakshmana. He requests Satyabhama to transform herself into Sita, but she can't do it. So he requests Rukmini to transform her, because goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. They're different. It's a detail, but the spiritual potency of the personality of Godhead has different features. Shri, Bhu, and Nila. So Shri is the goddess of fortune. And that's Rukmini, not Satyabhama. So Satyabhama couldn't do it, but Rukmini did. So Rukmini became Sita, or transformed herself into Sita. And so all 3 of them were waiting for Hanuman. When Hanuman came back, Hanuman immediately jumped, because he can jump big distance, right? He's a son of Vayu. He jumped a big distance, and he came in for a landing right in front of Krishna, Balaram, and Rukmini in the form of Ram, Lakshman, and Sita. And he was very, very happy, and he offered them prayers. Garuda's pride was curbed. It worked. And he then asked Hanuman to ask from him any benediction he wanted. Now, I didn't include what Hanuman asked, because we all know what Hanuman would ask. Exclusive devotion to you, the personality of Godhead. Thank you very much. So that's Hanuman and Krishna met. And here's another very interesting description from Adi Varaha Purana. And this is a description of when Ramachandra, this is Hanuman Hanuman bringing Govardhan Hill to Vrindavan. It's not the standard description of how that happened, but it's Adi Varaha Purana. During the so their monkeys and bears are given the assignment to build the bridge, to get mountain peaks and this and that, big rocks, and throw them into the Indian Ocean. So Hanuman went all the way to Uttarakhand, because he can travel far distances, no problem. And he found this really fantastic mountain named Govardhana. But as Hanuman is lifting Govardhan to bring Govardhan to the shore of the ocean. This is not moving. And he hears a voice in the sky. No more mountain peaks are needed, thank you. The bridge has been built. Hanuman was disappointed. So Hanuman, hearing the voice, he set Govardhan Hill down exactly in the very same place where it stands today. He was passing over Vrindavan. But Giriraj was upset. He cursed. He said, "I'll curse you because you set me down. You've deprived me of the touch of Ram's lotus feet." According to this Purana, "Please forgive me," Hanuman replied. "In the next Dwarapa Yuga," now it's not exactly the next Dwarapa Yuga because there's 4 Dwarapa Yugas in between, but the next Dwarapa Yuga, your desire will be fulfilled. At that time, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna will stop the worship of Indra and worship you instead. Krishna is going to worship you. Angered, Indra will try to destroy Vraja by unleashing his thunderbolt and by sending torrential rain. At that time, Krishna will hold you in his hand to protect Vraja. In this way, he will fulfill your desire. Hanuman leaped into the air and came by the side of Ramachandra. He was happy. Hanuman, narrating this whole incident to Lord Ramachandra, replied, "Yes, all the rocks that have been assembled to build the bridge have been delivered by the touch of my feet." The rocks were delivered by the touch of my feet. "But I shall fulfill the desires of Govardhan by holding him in my hand and touching him with my whole body. At the close of Dwarapa Yuga, I shall take birth in the dynasty of Yadus and make Govardhan famous as the best servant of Hari by herding the cows with my sakhas on his slopes and by enjoying with my beloved gopis in his kunjas." Hanuman and Govardhan Hill. So Krishna wasn't the only one that lifted Govardhan Hill, according to this Purana, Adi Varaha Purana. And mentioned earlier, now I'm going to go more into Leelas that you're familiar with. This is a Leela that you're all familiar with. This is Ram giving his ring to Hanuman because Hanuman, he trusts, will be successful in finding Sita. However, when Sita finds a monkey, what's she going to do? Of course, Hanuman has shape-changing abilities. He can appear otherwise than as a monkey. But so that she'll know that you're for real, it's not just a rakshasa trick, something. Give her this ring. She knows this ring very, very well. She'll know that you're representing me. And the gesture is, you're the guru. You're the representative of the personality of Godhead. And you speak about the personality of Godhead, which he does to convince her to his being the representative of Ramachandra, and gives Ramachandra's message, just like delivering the message of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, or delivering on behalf of the Guru, delivering the message of Krishna to Arjuna, to the world. That's the guru function. So Hanuman is performing that guru function. Here again is Ram giving the ring. This is a nice B.G. Sharma painting. And there he goes, off in the southerly direction, because the Vanaras were divided into groups of 4 into different directions. And when they reached the southern tip of India, they had not yet found Sita, but Sampati. Are you familiar with Ramayana? Are you a little familiar with Ramayana? Are you a little familiar with Ramayana? Yeah? Do you know who is Sampati? Sampati. Sampati is a vulture. Sampati had a brother. The brother's name starts with a J. Jatayu. Yes? No. No. Jatayu came to protect Ramchandra, accepted his service. He just sat on a branch of the tree and protecting Sita. That was Jatayu's service. Like a security guard kind of guy, And when Ravana came to kidnap Sita by trickery, he saw Jatayu flew and attacked Ravana. And Ravana cut off his wing so he couldn't fly anymore. And eventually he died. Jatayu gave up his life trying to protect Sita. And Jatayu had a brother, another vulture, and his name starts with an S, Sampati. Sampati. So Sampati was a vulture, and he had his wings burned, so he couldn't fly anymore, because he and his brother were traveling. Sampati was the elder brother of the two, and Jatayu was the younger brother. As it was getting so hot, getting so close to the sun, he spread his wings so his brother wouldn't get burned, and his wings burned. He came crashing to the ground, unable to fly anymore because his wing got burned. So he's on a mountain side, hearing this talk about Jatayu gave up his life. My brother, how do they know Jatayu? Here we are in South India. That was way over there. And so he hops down to get closer to hear what they say. And he hears them discussing, we have to find Sita. And we're unsuccessful. So they decide they're going to fast until death, because they go back and Sugriva's just going to be merciless and kill them anyway. So just better die that way. So they're the Vanaras all spread out except Hanuman, ready to fast until death. And Sampati is thinking, wow, bunch of monkeys fasting until death. Let me just hang out and have a big lunch. This is Ramayana, right? From Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana. And he's a speaking vulture. He says, I heard you speaking about Jatayu. Tell me about Jatayu. He's my long-lost brother. And they describe what happened with Jatayu protecting Sita. He said, oh, I know what you're talking about. I saw Sita heading in that direction, southerly direction, crossing the sea. Oh, really? Tell us what you see, because vultures have good eyesight. So Sampati said, she's there in the Ashok Grove garden of Ravana in Lanka. And how far away? How far away? 100 yojanas? Yes? Who's our Ramayana fans? 100 yojanas. That's a lot. One yojana roughly is 8 miles. So how to get it across to verify? So they were having this discussion amongst the Vanaras. Who can jump 800 miles to inform Sita? Ram is coming. Ram is coming. You'll be protected. Nobody could jump that distance. One of them said, I can jump there, but I can't jump back. No good. So next what happened was Jambavan, he was with the Vanaras, and he's got a different life form. He has a bear life form. He reminded Hanuman long, long ago. So now we're going to go into Hanuman's appearance. How are we doing with time? I'm telling too many stories. It's now 7:30, 7:25, almost. So here we go, some stories. Now part of the stories is because I was told there are some newer people, but most of you all know the Ramayana because you grew up in India. So you know Ramayana. If you grew up in India, you know Ramayana. Jambavan reminds Hanuman of his powers because Hanuman forgot what his powers were. So let's go a little bit. This is from another Ramayana, Kamba Ramayana. This is referenced by Madhvacharya. We know as Madhvacharya is holding up these two fingers. Dvaitavad, as opposed to Mayavad. Dvaitavad, two fingers. So that's Madhvacharya. And in his commentary, he makes reference. Hanuman's mother, Anjana, tells her story of how she was previously a maidservant of Brihaspati. Who is Brihaspati? You've heard his name? Priest of the demigods. So Indra has a priest. Indra's the king, and he has a priest. And the priest is Brihaspati. So according to this Kamba Ramayana, there was Brihaspati had a maidservant, at least one, and her name was Punji Kastala. Punji Kastala. Punji Kastala, according to Kamba Ramayana, was once in the forest gathering items, picking flowers for Brihaspati's puja. And when she was there, she saw some women and some men mixing together in an amorous way. And she got whammied. She got attracted to that amorous love, and she came back with the flowers and started smothering Brihaspati with kisses. Brihaspati was disgusted. He was so furious, he immediately cursed Punji Kastala to become a monkey. But out of concern, he also added that after some time, the son of the wind god, Vayu, right? Wind god. The son of the wind god would come to her as a child. So that's Anjana was the mother of Hanuman. Anjana was the mother of Hanuman. And she previously was here's a nice little painting. She was an apsara, or a maid servant of Brihaspati. And Brihaspati's curse brought her to earth, and the daughter of Kunjara was the monkey king, and she took birth as, the mother of Hanuman took birth in this way. So she's telling her story. And then Anjana married Keshari. So Keshari and Anjana combined produced Hanuman. Got it? A little complicated. Puranic story. A little complicated. Kamba Ramayana. So previously, the mother of Hanuman was an Apsara, or a maidservant of Brahaspati. But now she appeared on earth. And she maintained, as it says, she retained her power to take any form at will. So she had some other power, and she used her power when as needed. And she had the form of a monkey, because that was the curse. And she married Keshari, who was also a monkey king. So Anjana and Keshari. And together they had a son. And Anjana Suta is one of the names of Hanuman. Anjana Suta. Hanuman got the name Hanuman later. Anjana Suta. And when Hanuman was a little monkey, he was hungry. Sometimes children get hungry. And he saw fruit in the sky. So he wanted to get that fruit, because it was big fruit. So he went zoom, 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 zoom in the sky. But it was the sun, it wasn't a fruit in the sky. And as he went closer and closer to the sun, Indra started getting a little nervous. Uh-oh, maybe he's going to cause disturbance in this universe. So he threw his thunderbolt weapon and hit Hanuman in the jaw with his thunderbolt weapon. And then Hanuman came crashing down to the top of a mountain on earth. That was a big fall. His father didn't like it. Hanuman's father was Vayu. That's right, Vayu. So when Vayu saw what Indra did and the result for his son, he withheld air flowing in the whole universe. And when the air was stopping the flow in the whole universe, everyone was suffocating, including the demigods. We can't breathe. They went to Lord Brahma. Please do something. We can't breathe. So Brahma came with the demigods to the place where Hanuman had fallen on the top of a mountain, and Brahma, one by one, requested all the demigods to give benedictions to Hanuman. And this benediction, that benediction, he got loaded up with benedictions. Vayu was pleased, so he allowed air to start to flow in the universe again. However, problema. Hanuman was a monkey, and he has all these powers, and the Brahmanas were engaged in pujas, but he came and did monkey business. The painting shows some of the monkey businesses. He would pass water on their fire yagya and this and that and the other thing. So they pulling their beards. They cursed him. Look, you're going to forget all your powers. Until that point in time when someone reminds you of your powers, and then you'll remember. But until then, you're going to forget. Now, he still had shape-changing power. That one he had. But all the other powers he had forgotten until Jambavan reminded him. Now, before Jambavan reminded him, this is when they made their journey all the way to the southern tip of India. There was this description of how Hanuman, before this journey down to the southern tip of India happened, Ram and Lakshman met Hanuman. Ram and Lakshman met Hanuman. And the detail is very interesting. They're searching for Sita. And along the way, there's this Kabanda, this guy with one eye and a giant mouth and super long arms. A little Sika on the top of his head, too. It's a cute guy. Looks a little different. And he was hungry, and so he was using his powerful arms. They chopped off his arms, and before he died, he said, "Thank you very much. I had this curse. I had this ugly, awful form, but you've relieved me. I'm now redeemed. Is there some way I can serve you?" "Yes." "Which way did Sita go?" And he said, "Oh, she went that way because Ravana was taking her that way. But if you want to get Sita back, I recommend that you go to Rishamukh mountain and make friendship with Sugriva, because he has the same problem that you have. His wife was kidnapped by someone, his brother, and you make a friendship, and then it'll be better, more quickly, you can get Sita back." So they like that idea. So they're looking for Rishamukh mountain to find Sugriva. And when Rishamukh mountain, Sugriva is up on the mountaintop. Look at that mountaintop. He's got a whole palace going on up there. And Sugriva, looked down the mountain and saw these two mendicants with bows and arrows. That's out of character. Mendicants don't have bows and arrows. Are they mendicants, or they're warriors? And if they're warriors, are they associated with my brother? And so Hanuman, go down to the bottom of the mountain, check them out. Do your spy work. See what you can find out. Are they friend or foe? And what happened, because Hanuman had the ability to change shapes, this painting shows he didn't show a monkey form, he showed a young Brahmin form, and as soon as he came, Hanuman, as soon as he came before Sita, before Ram Lakshman, he immediately understood who they were. So he disclosed his identity. They, particularly Ramachandra, this is important, Ramachandra remarked, "This person must have studied the four Vedas comprehensively, because otherwise how could they speak with this diction and clarity?" And there's pages and pages and pages of his appreciating of the erudition of a monkey, or in this case, a Brahmana. He is a very elevated person. So there's mutual respect immediately, and many, many, many other things happened. Leading to Jambavan reminding Hanuman of his powers. So when Jambavan reminded Hanuman of his powers, he started to remember, and he got bigger and bigger, and he got really big. And he stood on top of Mahendra mountain, ready to make the jump. 800 miles, 100 yojanas, or 800 miles. That's a big jump. And the whole of Sundarakanda is describing his jump and what happened when he reached Lanka and searching for Sita and all of that. This which Sita was appreciating. He risked his life to find Sita, because Ram wanted to find Sita. And so he was able to find Sita. We're almost done. Here's a nice painting of Hanuman singing at Kim Purusha Varsha. According to the 5th canto Bhagavatam, Hanuman, is with another very elevated Vaishnava, Rishtasena, and together with others, they're singing the glories of Ram all day, all night, for the rest of the day of Brahma in Kim Purusha Varsha. And here's a little note. There's a nice devotee named Prahlad Nrsimha. So those of you that are from the Kishore Kishori temple, you know who Prahlad Nrsimha is. This is his artwork. The deity is from Coimbatore. It's a very celebrated deity of Ram. So he took the photo of the deity and added this particular verse from Hanuman Namaskar. Wherever there is song in praise of Ram, there always is, with head bowed in respect and eyes brimming with tears of joy, Hanuman, the terminator of the Rakshasas. We offer our obeisances unto him. So many, many verses of just namaskar, offering obeisances to Hanuman. So we're offering our obeisances to Hanuman on Hanuman Jayanti. And here's Hanuman. This isn't, I don't think this is lifting Govardhana. This is the herbs that he brought to cure Lakshman's inflicted wound. And this is the last slide. This is artwork from Janavi Harrison. Some of you may know. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful singer. And on the occasion of Ram Navami, she sings Ram bhajans. And this was drawn for her use in one of her musical compositions has this where I got it. Hanuman singing on his every bone of his body is Ram's name, and his singing the glories of Ram, Ram, Ram. So there we are. Now there's more. There's certainly more to the Hanuman's glories, but tomorrow, this is an advertisement for tomorrow's class. Tomorrow, we're going to be observing the appearance day of another personality that appeared today along with Hanuman, is Shyamananda Pandit. We'll hear more about Shyamananda Pandit tomorrow. And he, a wonderful Vaishnava in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, etc., etc. Jiva Goswami's student, and so on. So any comments or questions? There's lots of young people here in the audience, and for the most part, with the exception of these two girls here, for the most part, you've been very peaceful. Compliments to all of you. And very attentive and a little restless, but pretty good. Any comments or questions, particularly about Hanuman? You're prompting him to ask a question, right? No. He does?
Why does Hanuman's bones has Rama all over it?
Because he's dedicated to Ram. Our bones don't have that, but we're not dedicated to Ram. It's Kritivasa Ramayana. I haven't looked inside Hanuman's body to verify is it true or not.
Okay.
But that's why. Because to his bone, he's dedicated to Ram, Ram, Ram. That's why. Anyone else? Yes, Jivana Jivana?
The images of Hanuman are just so absorbing, Maharaj. The intensity of his devotion comes through with some of the images. Something that I was wondering about is what is it that happened that Hanuman, who didn't know Ram, came in Lord Ram's presence as a Brahmin, disguised as a Brahmin, and it seemed like it
click.
And he became such a intense. The number one example or exemplar of servitude to the Supreme Lord is Hanuman.
Hmm.
How did that happen?
Well, this much we know. It's not in Valmiki Ramayana, but before Hanuman makes his leap to Lanka, he offers prayers to the sun god, who was his guru. Now, Ramachandra appears in the Surya dynasty. So one might infer, because the sun god was the source of the Surya dynasty, and Ram was the king of the Surya dynasty, in fact, the personality of Godhead, that Ram Bhakti was passed on from the sun god. Because Bhakti is transmitted from someone to someone who receives it. It's not just in your genes, supposing it's receiving. So that's it's not explicitly indicated, but it's inferred he got from the sun god. And super excellent. Okay.
I have many questions, Guru Maharaj, if you'd be willing to
Okay.
answer. It seems like the most confidential devotees get the special mercy of serving in separation. So, for example, Uddhava was left behind. Krishna took everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, Hanuman.
Left behind. There were some others left behind too.
So is that to be understood as...
It's a service for those who, the personality of Godhead, or a teacher, or the representative of a teacher, or the personality of Godhead, they engage people according to their capacity and their inclination. So it's special mercy to be dedicated in service in separation. It's a special mercy. Now, it's special mercy for those that get the direct association of the personality of Godhead or his pure devotee. Special mercy. Just like this exercise of chasing rhinos. Those that had that association, such love, and the details and details and details that they're carrying within them. It's not the same as those that didn't, that were serving in separation. But there's something special about service and separation at the same time. So there's the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam, that's Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. He's the supreme controller. And so each of us are engaged in ways that are appropriate for us. And it may take some time for position A to become position B, to become position C, or whatever happens. But it's all being orchestrated by, this is the faith of the devotee, is being orchestrated by the personality of Godhead. And those that have the capacity and do service and separation, there's something very special. Otherwise, Ramachandra took the whole of Ayodhya with him and left behind a few. So it's very special. In his absence, to hear the glories of Ramachandra from one who knows Ramachandra perfectly because of his devotion.
So it seems like Garuda's pride was curbed by the act of Hanuman, flicking him.
Yeah.
Is that how?
Not just flicking him, but so he could see the exclusive devotion. You think you're special? Check out Hanuman. He's more special than you because, and there's no pride in his heart. He has devotion without pride in his heart. So it was just a lesson. So the pride was curbed. Now looking up to Hanuman.
So, Guru Maharaj, there seems to be this explanation of things that are inexplicable,
Yeah.
which is it's a pastime.
Yeah.
So
Why should just call it a pastime?
even the gopis seem to be proud, and that's why Krishna leaves them
But what
during
is
the
that?
Rasa dance.
What is this? Not pride like we have. That's a big mistake to think like that. I mean, not saying you think like that, but anyone who thinks like that, it's a big mistake. In these matters, something that helps me a lot in the inexplicable is it has everything to do with rasa. And rasa, how do you touch or put your hands around rasa? You can't. It's quite subtle, but it drives everything. The subtle drives the gross. And it's the happiness of Krishna's devotee and Krishna, or the Ramachandra and Ramachandra's devotee. It's their flavors of their taste in exchange with one another. That's lila. It's just a pastime for in enhancing and increasing the ecstasy of one another. So that what you just identified, that's one of those things. Yeah, I see. You have something further? Okay, we'll come back. So way in the back. Way in the back. There's a lot of people in this room. We could be here for a while.
Yeah, that's it. So first of all, Jai Hanuman, Jai Shri Ram. And thank you so much for making us all focus on what you're saying. It's a really tough job, and I regret like I came a little late. So my question is basically, I've learned about why Hanuman puts the orange sindoor all over his body.
Yeah.
But I didn't know like why the sindoor is always in orange color. Anyway.
Well, it's many times it's red because vermilion is red. That bindi in a married lady's forehead is red, not orange. Now sometimes it's orange, but my experience is largely it's red. But why is it orange instead of red? You have to ask the artist.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay. By the way, you came a little bit late, but one of the delightful parts in the very beginning to help enhance the mood is asking children questions. And everyone likes to hear how children are going to answer the question. Everyone's very attentive, especially the one who's asked the question. And some of them, like this young girl, she's used to it. They don't pick on her anymore. She feels happy she's not being picked on. But it helps attentiveness, the interaction with the audience. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, you have another question. Let's go.
When was Hanuman born?
What? When was he born?
Yeah.
Not how was he born, but when was he born?
When?
When? Well, he was born before Ramachandra was born. And we have some idea when Ramachandra was born, right? You have some. When was Ramchandra born? I'm asking you now.
Treta Yuga. I don't know.
In Treta Yuga, different. It's so a different Yuga cycle. And Hanuman was born before. It's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it. I guess we can. Okay. Okay. All the way in the back. Put your hand up one more time.
Namaste, everyone. So it's a personal question for you.
Okay.
What made you turn into Krishna devotee?
Oh, this is really off topic.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, but I'm responding. Just today, I carry with me this little device about that big. Send the microphone over this way. I travel with a little device. The microphone, little player is about this big. And I listen to Srila Prabhupada every day for at least an hour and a half while I'm doing other things, but I'm hearing Prabhupada's voice, and turn the volume up full so the sound goes in. And Prabhupada was in Bombay, and he is in the Mahadevia's home, and he's has all these fabulously wealthy people that are friends of the Mahadevia family. And 2 days in a row, he said the same thing at the end of class, pertinent to our subject. Because he had the experience of people asking questions of anything under the sun. And then he would sometimes say, if a question is not on topic, then the on-topic focus is lost. We spent an hour and a half just discussing something, and then it's lost. So I'm going to defer to another time. Is that okay? And for the on-topic question, go ahead.
Guru Maharaj, the pastime of Lord Hanuman saving Bharata. So, Lord Ramachandra was saying that he could be attached to the kingdom, but he, all those 14 years, it was really heart-wrenching to hear all those pastimes.
Yeah.
So my question is, I'm trying to understand. Lord Ram understands his heart, but
it's a pastime. He's giving Hanuman some service.
Yeah.
It's a pastime. That's the whitewash. It's a rasa. It's a loving relationship between him and Hanuman. He knows. And he can ask questions, and he knows the answers before he asks the question. Should I accept Vibhisha and surrender? So it's okay. He's doing what a king would do, giving the subjects their voice and honoring their voice, although he's already decided. It's okay. It's okay. Next to you, she's got some more.
Guru Maharaj, I'm a little confused about whether it is true that the holy name of the Lord is even more powerful than the other forms. And I'm wondering in the particular path.
Well, is it not exactly more powerful, but merciful? Okay. You have something or online? Okay, you get the microphone. You got 16 microphones going.
Hare Krishna, Guru
Yes,
Maharaj.
I see your hand. Just calm down. You get the last question. I hope it's going to be a good one. Go ahead.
In Lord Anjaneya, when they're drawing the pictures, I see that Lord Rama and Sita was showing in his heart. I felt always that it's a emotion. The artist has drawn that way to show that how emotional Anjaneya is. But today you have explained the scriptural reference and the backstory of Sita Mataji giving the gifts. It was so great to know today, Maharaj. Thank
Well,
you.
it's not that if this is right, then that is wrong. There can be multiple rights. Yes. This young man has got the best question.
How did Hanuman get his powers?
How did he get powers?
Mhm.
How does anyone get powers? There's a powerful. Powers come from the powerful. So Hanuman's powers came from the powerful. That's how he got them. And they were gifted to him. So he's bearing those powers, but the source of the powers is Ramachandra. Srila Prabhupada ki, Hanuman Jayanti ki, Gaur Premanandi. Oh.